Diana McCullum.
I'm Andrew Ivamy.
And this is episode 11 of Fan vs. Fan for The Flash.
Hello? Harry?
It's a reverse Flash. He's back.
He should be erased from existence, right?
This is where he learns about you. All of you. This is his origin story. And there's nothing you can do about it.
The Flash, only this Tuesday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
So in tonight's episode of The Flash, we had an episode that even Doc Brown would have a difficult time recapping. We have Reverse Flash coming back from the future for the first time to start a feud that leads into everything that we have seen prior to now. Iris's mom is still sick, as is Jay, and Caitlin and Iris are just concerned about the sick people in their lives, and the timelines have gotten complicated. Alright, so let's talk pros about tonight's episode. Diana, what did you like?
I think I was really enjoying Harrison Wells this episode.
Okay.
Yeah, he's so complicated. Like, I know he's like not super evil, but he's not a good guy,
Yeah.
and but he was so genuinely concerned about Cisco dying, and that really surprised me.
I get that.
Because, I didn't feel like he'd be that invested. He seems like a guy who's just, very into, gonna save my daughter.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And he does want that.
He does want to save his daughter. But, yeah, and Tom Cavanaugh is always just so delightful, and I love when he gets a lot to do.
Yeah.
I was really feeling Harrison Wells. And I also just, I like complicated time travel when it makes sense, so I actually kind of did enjoy how complicated this was.
Okay. I get it. I mean, I do have the concern that it might be a little bit circular, but we'll see how it all plays out. I am going to agree with you, though, on the Harrison Wells point. That is also one of my pros for this episode. Specifically, how Harrison Wells and the Cisco dynamic are playing off one another. So, Tom Cavanaugh, from season 1, has been a highlight of the show for me. I think he performs really well, but the development between himself and Cisco has grown as characters, and they're kind of charming, and their back and forth is good, and I totally buy into why Harrison Wells is concerned about Cisco in this episode, because it wasn't thrown upon us. It wasn't a first act, Harrison Wells cares about Cisco now, so get on board for this. It's been a slow burn over this season of they're developing a rapport, there's tension, but they're just friends with tension. I like their dynamic, I understood the motivations, it wasn't thrown upon us. Everything about the writing of those two characters and specifically how they interact, I think was really strong in this episode.
I agree, and I really like the change in the dynamic of how they get along, because in season 1, Harrison Wells was Cisco's boss. So even though they got along, there was always that, hierarchy, but now he's just a dude who crashes at their place. So Cisco is like, whatever, Harry, you don't pay my bills anymore.
Right. You know that's gotta hurt Wells a little bit, because on his Earth, Wells has all that and more. He did not have the particle accelerator explode. He's still a respected businessman making a lot of money on Earth 2.
Yeah, he's not a guy who conned everyone with a wheelchair for 5 years. He's just a guy who was a really good businessman, had a daughter, he's been real screwed over, and now he's just basically a bum. He doesn't live anywhere.
On Earth 1, him and Cisco are peers, and Wells is kind of just crashing there.
Yeah, where does Wells live? On Cisco's couch? Can I just guess that's where
I think on a Star Labs couch. They clearly have an open door policy, as we've discussed in the past.
Yeah, there's no security.
Anyone's allowed in and out. Why not just crash there? That works.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what's going on there. But those were my... Yeah, so I like the time travel. I like Harrison Wells.
Okay.
What else do we like this episode?
For me, in all honesty, it was mainly the Harrison Wells plot line was really what did it in for me. I do kind of like the Reverse Flash coming back. I feel like it was a bit of a missed opportunity that we didn't have Zoom as well as Reverse Flash in this episode. I like the idea of having a lot of speedsters in the mix.
I know, but an Earth 2 speedster and then a different timeline speedster, that's so many different speedsters.
It's a lot of speedsters, and now we have the potential of Wally in the show. So there's a lot going on with potential speedsters, but I feel like we could have had a little bit more there.
I do want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Do we think Cisco's nosebleeds were caused by the timeline changing or those crazy glasses? Because then Harrison Wells kind of looks like a jerk. I thought it was the glasses.
I originally thought it was the glasses. I'm not sure if that was just some interference in the storytelling or in the direction of the episode. At first, the nosebleeds I thought were due to the glasses, were due to maybe even not even necessarily the glasses, but just due to him using his powers to their full extent. But then with the whole timeline fracture, it's getting a little bit washed as to exactly what's happening there. And his whole vibe of everything happening, it was very Cerebro. I don't know if you felt that, but it was very Bryan Singer X-Men Cerebro of like, look at all the mutants do their own things. That cloud interface.
It was very X2, find all the mutants and you see everyone where they are.
Yeah, it was exactly that.
But one thing that did bother me about that, though, I like him having more vibe powers, but I was like, when he was like, I can see the future, I'm like, you've seen the future like 8 times. Yeah,
that did feel a little bit weird. They said that as if it was a new thing. But I thought we were all kind of on board with the fact that Cisco saw the future. I get the first few, it was kind of parallel time. Mm-hmm. It was Patty's tied up in a warehouse.
Yeah.
Like, you see something like that. But when he sees Hawkgirl be Hawkgirl, and Hawkgirl doesn't know that she's Hawkgirl yet.
Way before Hawkman showed up.
Yeah. You're already getting full vibes and premonitions of the future.
Lots of premonitions. This shouldn't have been a reveal. But other than that, I was really enjoying it.
Right. But he sold it very well, which I think was really strong. And I do like the motivation for releasing Reverse Flash, to sending him back into the future.
Yeah. No, that was fun. It was the effect of him like fading away was kind of weird, mm-hmm. but yeah, it was a good idea to get rid of him and like keep the new broken timeline intact. Yeah.
Patty's performance was also very good in tonight's episode.
Patty was great. I'm gonna miss her.
I'm gonna miss her. I'm gonna miss her
so
a lot. I think that might be leading into cons, because a con for me is definitely gonna be missing Patty.
All
but
right,
but before we get into cons, I'll say pro was the time we've got to spend with Patty.
Do we have an in memoriam prepared for
We
Patty?
do not. We do not. No. Feel it in your mind's eye. In memoriam for all the times we've loved Patty, but that leads us to cons. Let's get into cons. All right, cons. Diana, what did you not like about tonight's episode?
Tonight's episode, now they do this a lot where they jam in a lot of stuff you don't need in episodes that like can't dedicate to it, but in this episode specifically, it was like, we don't need Francine and Jay dying in one episode. I was like, one of those storylines needed to go. I don't care which one, but like this episode was jam-packed with Reverse Flash and stuff going down, and like I couldn't handle these 2 minor characters both dying on the side.
Right.
It was a little much for me. It was hard to care that much for that long.
Yeah, for to see 2 characters who are like, oh, they're fading away, we need to do something, but no particular motivation. Like for a fictional character, no motivation for we need to cure them, or why we're doing both of these simultaneously. I think there are a lot of missed opportunities there where they could at least be suffering from the same disease or problem that can tie both of those storylines together. I don't know if
Iris's mom is going to suffer from what's killing Jay.
Well, no, but Jay could have something that still regular humans could get. You know, they brought up McGregor's before, syndrome, which is kind of DC's go-to mysterious disease that everybody gets, and that could easily be the Francine and Jay tie-in, that we need to cure this for the sake of both of our families.
That would help, and also they've been so vague about what Jay is dying from. Like, he seems perfectly healthy. Yeah. He's active. I think
they haven't figured it out as a writer's room. I don't think they've figured out exactly why he's dying themselves, so they don't really know how to write it in. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. So that was my big con. I was like, one of these stories would have been fine, but like, and also because everyone in the episode was going through a hard time. Like, Barry was breaking up with Patty.
Wally's still racing cars,
but like even Cisco was like sad about seeing Professor McGee get kidnapped. Like no one was up, everyone was down, so it was like just hard to keep watching.
Right, it makes it feel very, very just monotone. It didn't really have any peaks and valleys. It just kind of stayed in one place at the bottom, which is definitely an issue. But and what's going on with Jay also leads me to one of my cons as well, which is the dumbing down of Caitlin.
Oh, that was a huge... Oh, my God. In that scene where Cisco was dying, and then Barry and Harrison are discussing how to save him, and they actually cut to Caitlin, and she's like... I'm like, you're a scientist! Where are your lines? Where is your contribution? What is you doing, writers?
And Barry is a forensic scientist, but he is not as advanced a scientist as what Caitlin is. Ever since they've given Caitlin this Jay storyline, she is nothing more than a love interest. She forced Jay into several conversations in tonight's episode where it was like, we need to track down Reverse Flash. Is anyone thinking about Jay? Like, why is this your only characteristic anymore? You are just a love interest. You used to be, at one point, you were part of, like, the team that, like, you were with Cisco making the suit, running the tests on the airfield. You were figuring out how to, like, hack police systems, fight crime to begin with. And now you actually don't have a line of dialogue when everyone else is sciencing, and you're interrupting crime fighting to say, how do we feel about Jay? Do we miss him? It is such a dumbing down of this character.
It really is, because, like I like Caitlyn, but she never had, like, she doesn't really have, like, a defining characteristic like Cisco does, where he's like, I'm the funny guy who drinks Slurpees. Like, for her, she's always been about the science. She's like, I'm a very serious scientist. So when you take out her sciencing, you're like, she doesn't do anything. And I hate it. Like, they're irising her.
Yeah, and the problem with it too is that they're not even giving her the same dynamic that she originally had with Ronnie either. Because when it was the, like, my husband died, oh my god, my husband back, my husband is Firestorm, we're both scientists together, and they still played off each other in that dynamic. She was still intelligent and strong and an active component of the plotline. And now, even though her and Jay are both scientists, they don't ever science. They don't ever engage. They're never active characters in this storyline.
Yeah, because Ronnie and Firestorm would, like, be involved in Barry's fights to, like, catch a villain. And you're right. Jay doesn't do any science, even though he's a scientist.
Her love interests have always been have both been scientists, but Jay, for some reason, even though he's dying in the science, has incredible urgency. I don't feel any urgency. They never discuss anything, and they never fight crime together. And frankly, I don't even know why Jay's still on Earth 1.
No, I don't know why he's still there. Yeah, so this whole plot line isn't working for me. Like, I can't wait until she Killer Frosts or she does something cool. Like, Caitlyn needs a storyline.
Yeah, and I don't understand what is happening with the cast of characters right now within the show, because it feels like we're adding one after the other. We're adding Francine, we're adding Wally. Jay had an episode where he said he was going back to Earth 2, and the next episode he just hadn't, and he just stayed permanently. Now we've got Reverse Flash back again, along with Zune, and Patty's the one we're writing out, who has been the delight of the show, who has been a well-rounded, intelligent character, who acted rationally, who had sincere chemistry with Barry. Her and Grant Gustin played off each other incredibly. I think she has been the highlight of the show this season.
I agree, and she's also been active in storylines. Like, she fights crime even not knowing he's the Flash. She'll shoot anybody. She doesn't care. Like, Patty doesn't even need these guys. She's like, I'll fight metahumans alone.
But we're losing.
And she's so interesting.
We're losing an active protagonist, and we're gaining 8 reactive characters.
Yeah.
I don't understand what is happening there. 8 people who do nothing but react, and the one character who was involved in the action, who was in the thick of it.
I totally agree.
It's a shame.
I totally agree. So let's hope
Gonna miss Patty.
Let's hope Patty comes back. She's not dead. Come back, Patty.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping for some guest appearances. But that's enough for cons. Let's get into some Easter eggs.
Our big
What do we
Easter
got?
egg. I only had one really big one, but so at the very end, when Jay brings Caitlyn to, like, meet his other self, he says that's Hunter Zolomon.
Oh.
In the comic books, Hunter Zolomon is actually Zoom.
Okay.
So it's Hunter Zolomon lives on Earth 1. He's not connected to Jay Garrick at all. He's Earth 1. He's a detective who gets paralyzed, and he's friends with the Flash. And he asks the Flash to go back in time and fix him.
Okay.
And the Flash says no. So then Hunter Zolomon tries to use the cosmic treadmill, and it blows up, and he gets turned into a Flash.
Oh, okay.
But then he hates the Flash because he wouldn't help him. So that's why he's evil.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is, like, a hint. I don't really think Jay's Zoom.
Right.
I don't know if they just wanted to throw that name in there to be like, here's where Hunter Zolomon is. Everyone who thinks Zoom is Hunter Zolomon.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
So if Hunter Zolomon is the Reverse Flash in the comics,
he is Zoom in the comics.
He is Zoom
in the comics. Zoom and Reverse Flash are different people.
Yeah. So Reverse Flash is Eobard Thawne in the comics still, but Hunter
Zolomon
is Zoom.
So
okay.
I don't know if this is a hint or just them telling us, like, forget about Hunter Zolomon. It's not related. It's somebody we know.
Okay. Yeah, it might be a breaking down the fourth wall. Like, listen, audience, we know you brought up this name. Forget about it. We're going somewhere else entirely.
Yeah, we're throwing it out.
Or I don't know. I don't know how else they could explain that. Why bother bringing it up?
I don't think Jay is Zoom.
Right.
But have we ever seen Zoom and Jay together? Are we just taking his word for him that Zoom stole his speed?
I think we are. Question mark? No, they've been in the same room. They've been in the same room. They definitely.
I'd have to
fought.
go back and check. I can't remember who.
They've definitely fought. When he lost his powers and took that formula, he was the one who ran in first to go against Zoom.
Oh yeah.
So we have seen them in the same room.
Right,
so he's
so
definitely not Zoom.
All right. Well, then that's just a fun little Easter egg, which is what this whole section's about.
All right, a little tangent though. To go back to that scene where they're looking at Hunter Zolomon, it was all because Caitlyn's only plot line at this point was, let's find Earth 1J, because we can use their cells to repair Jay. Mm-hmm. And then she goes through all that trouble, and Jay's like, yeah, he's right there. That's not how science works. That's how poorly they've written her at science now. Is that her entire plotline this episode was something that ended with Jay just being like, yeah, my cells have mutated. You've looked at my cells. You know what's going on with me. Those aren't my cells anymore. Really, really strange for that kind of a screw up.
It also seems like he gave up very easily. Like, she's a very good scientist and hasn't even tried yet.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she hasn't gotten Hunter Zolomon's DNA to be like, I can just, fix you.
Since this plotline came into play, I feel like that's what's been going on. We need to save you. We really should save me.
Have you tried anything? We've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas. Like, what's up with you, Jay?
There'll always be tomorrow. No, there won't, Jay. No, there won't.
Yeah, as soon as Francine dies, everyone's going to be like, we got to save Jay today.
Yeah.
People are dying.
Now, the glasses that Cisco wears in this episode, are those at all similar to what Vibe's costume is?
Yeah, they are. They are. So
okay.
Yeah, Vibe usually wears a visor. They don't. That doesn't affect his powers because Vibe's usually like an Earth Shifter guy.
Right. But I guess they gotta
look.
find a reason to put those shutter shades on a character in not a ridiculous Cisco has started DJing at night kind of a thing.
Yeah, Cisco has a midlife crisis. I wear these now.
Yeah.
This is my look. Or Earth 2 Cisco could just wear them.
Okay. Yeah, that could be a thing.
But we haven't met Earth 2 Cisco.
Okay, all right. So that's a little bit of a write-in to get those shades on him, which is how he looks in the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. Yeah, good catch. I forgot about that one.
I pick up things every now and then.
You got this.
Yeah.
Now all we need is Cisco to start breakdancing, and we're gonna be just fine.
Ooh, buddy. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he needs to get his adrenaline up for his powers to work. So he's like, well, what if I try breakdancing?
Perfect.
That will shoot my adrenaline
Perfect writing.
Skyrocket.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that episode. It's gonna be great. Season finale. All right, and so that's it for our Easter eggs, and that's it for our fan versus fan for this week. You can subscribe to Dorkshelf on Twitter at Dorkshelf to get updates every day, every week.
And be sure to subscribe just below. Subscribe to Dorkshelf on YouTube as well, and tune in every week and every Tuesday. Tweet along with us using hashtag FanVFan. Throw us any questions that you might have, and we'll be happy to answer them.
And you can find us on textfromsuperheroes.com, our webcomic that we run.
Yeah.
So, I'm Diane McCullum.
I'm Andrew Ivanby.
Have a good night.
Kicked him out.